The mystery of Yoda's hidden homeworld isn't speculation, but a documented fact. According to the canon reference book Star Wars: The Complete Visual Dictionary, New Edition, the Grand Master of the Jedi Order actively kept his homeworld a secret. Similarly, the Legends source The Essential Guide to the Force confirms that Yoda never revealed his homeworld throughout his entire tenure with the Jedi. For over 800 years, the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy refused to reveal where he came from, and yet no one in the Order ever questioned why. Using both canon and legend sources, we'll examine 5 key pieces of evidence that reveal not just how Yoda kept his origins hidden, but why he may have done so. The first proof of Yoda's secrecy comes from the Jedi Archives themselves. Every Jedi who joined the Order had their homeworld recorded in their official file. This was standard procedure, documented across multiple sources. The Archives maintained comprehensive records on thousands of Jedi across generations, cataloging species, origins, and backgrounds as part of their institutional memory. From youngling to Padawan to Knight, every Jedi's file included their planet of origin, and the system was designed to be complete. Yet when you search for Yoda's entry, the homeworld field is blank. In every official reference book that catalogs Jedi and their backgrounds, Yoda's species is listed simply as unknown, and his homeworld receives that same designation. This isn't an oversight or a gap in the records, as the Jedi Archives were meticulous and obsessively complete. Jocasta Nu, the chief librarian, famously declared in Attack of the Clones that if something didn't appear in the archives, it simply didn't exist, and she spoke with absolute confidence in the system's completeness. Yoda's blank entry becomes even more striking considering his position. The Grand Master sat on the Jedi Council for centuries, trained thousands of Jedi, and was arguably the most documented individual in the entire Order's history, with records of his teachings, his missions, and his guidance spanning 800 years. The absence of Yoda's homeworld in a system designed to record every Jedi's origins points to only one conclusion: intentional omission. Someone with the authority and access to manipulate those records ensured that information never appeared, or was quietly removed long before anyone alive would ever remember it existed. And given Yoda's position at the very top of the Jedi hierarchy, he would have had both the authority and the opportunity to make that happen. The second piece of evidence goes beyond hiding information. In Legends continuity, he actively exploited the Archive's vulnerabilities for his own protection. According to Revenge of the Sith, the visual dictionary, Dagobah was among the planets erased from the Jedi Archives. In Legends sources, Yoda discovered that 38 worlds had been deleted from the archive database, their entries completely scrubbed from the system. When he needed a place to hide after Order 66, when the clones turned on the Jedi and the Empire rose to power, he chose Dagobah specifically because it was a non-existent planet. The Grand Master didn't stumble onto some random swamp world by accident or flee blindly into the Outer Rim hoping to avoid detection. He selected a location that had already been scrubbed from official records, a planet that, according to Jocasta Nu's own logic, did not exist. He used the very system of institutional concealment that someone else had created for his own protection. This reveals something crucial about Yoda's understanding of secrecy. The precedent for this kind of erasure was established clearly in Attack of the Clones. When Obi-Wan searched for the ocean world Kamino, he found nothing. The gravitational readings indicated a planet should exist in that location. The stars were being pulled by something massive, but the archives showed empty space where Kamino should have been. Obi-Wan brought this anomaly to Yoda, expecting surprise or concern. Instead, Yoda's response was measured, almost casual. He simply observed that someone had erased the information, as if this were a known possibility rather than an unthinkable violation. His familiarity with archive tampering suggests this wasn't the first time he'd encountered it, or perhaps not the first time he'd used it himself. The implications are significant. If Yoda understood how to erase information from the archives, if he knew that planets could simply vanish from official records, then he also knew how to make his own homeworld disappear. The same techniques that Dooku used to hide Kamino could have been applied centuries earlier to hide a far more important secret. Yoda had centuries of access to the archives, the authority of the Grand Master, and relationships with every chief librarian who served during his tenure. If he wanted information to vanish, he had the means to make it happen. The question is, why would the Grand Master go to such lengths to hide where he came from? Frank Oz, who originated the role of Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back, preserved notes from the character's creation that offer a rare glimpse into his backstory. According to Oz's original 1980 production notes, Yoda came from a gentler world. That detail has never been expanded upon in any official source, as the world was never named and its location was never hinted at. But the description itself is significant. A gentler world suggests a place of peace, perhaps a civilization that chose isolation over galactic involvement, a people who preferred quiet existence over the conflicts that define most of galactic history. If Yoda's people intentionally separated themselves from galactic society, revealing their location could expose them to dangers they had spent generations avoiding. Species that could not defend themselves were often conquered, enslaved, or absorbed into larger powers. But Yoda's species wouldn't be vulnerable. They would be something far more dangerous to reveal: valuable. The third piece of evidence comes from a pattern that spans centuries. Only 3 members of his species have ever appeared in Star Wars canon: Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu. All 3 were connected to the Jedi Order. Yoda served as Grand Master for centuries, the highest position in the entire Jedi hierarchy. Yaddle held a seat on the High Council during the final years of the Republic. Grogu was a Temple youngling who survived Order 66 and was later discovered by Din Djarin. Every known member of this species possessed extraordinary force sensitivity, not just moderate talent or above-average potential, but extraordinary power that manifested from their earliest years. Grogu, despite being developmentally equivalent to a toddler, could lift massive creatures with the Force, heal mortal wounds, and even use abilities that full Jedi Masters struggled to perform. In The Mandalorian, he demonstrated Force powers that shocked everyone who witnessed them, from lifting a mudhorn to choking enemies to healing fatal injuries. Similarly, Yaddle was powerful enough to earn a council seat and serve alongside Yoda during the final decades of the Republic. And Yoda himself was considered the greatest Jedi of his era, possibly the greatest in the Order's entire history, capable of dueling Sith Lords and lifting starfighters with apparent ease. And not one of them has ever spoken publicly about their origins. This consistency across 3 individuals, spanning centuries, suggests either a cultural prohibition against discussing their homeworld or deliberate coordination to protect it. 3 beings, separated by hundreds of years, all maintaining the same silence about the same subject, is not a coincidence, but policy. The fourth piece of evidence of Yoda's secrecy comes from what happened when others tried to reveal information about his species. George Lucas established strict rules about Yoda's origins that extended across all Star Wars media. In a 2005 Moviefone interview, Lucas explained that he never developed a backstory for Yoda, deliberately keeping the character a mystery with no background, no species name, and no homeworld. Lucas's approach became official Lucasfilm policy and actively discouraged anyone in the expanded universe from exploring Yoda's backstory, his species, or his origins. Writers who wanted to develop stories about his background were told this territory was off limits. The most striking example involved a trading card that depicted a group of beings resembling Yoda gathered around an altar with a statue of their kind. The image showed what appeared to be a religious or cultural ritual, with 5 members of the species in various poses of reverence or meditation. One figure appeared to levitate, radiating power while the others watched. It was the first and only glimpse of Yoda's species as a society rather than isolated individuals. For a brief moment, fans might have learned something about how his people lived, what they believed, how they related to each other. Lucasfilm pulped the entire print run. The cards were recalled and destroyed before fans ever knew they existed. Whatever information that image might have revealed, whatever context it might have provided, was intentionally erased from the official record. No other species in Star Wars history has been protected with such extreme measures. Wookiees have documented homeworlds, detailed cultural histories, named leaders, and significant historical events. Twi'leks have entire story arcs devoted to their planet and their struggles. Even the most mysterious species in the galaxy have some canonical information available for fans who want to learn more. But Yoda's kind remains hidden by intentional, active enforcement. Every time someone has tried to reveal details about Yoda's origins, Lucasfilm has intervened to stop it. The fifth and final piece of evidence comes from Dave Filoni, who worked alongside Lucas for years on the Clone Wars and maintains this tradition to this day. In interviews, Filoni has stated directly that he knows backstories about Yoda's species, details that have never been revealed publicly, as Filoni has confirmed that actual information exists, including stories and contexts that could answer questions fans have been asking for over 4 decades. But he considers it not his story to tell. He respects Lucas's original vision for the character's mystique and refuses to break that trust, even when fans press him for answers, even when revealing those details might generate enormous interest and publicity. This is crucial because the information actually exists, as Filoni has confirmed, but it remains locked away, protected at the highest levels of Lucasfilm's creative leadership. When asked about whether fans would ever see Yoda's home planet, Filoni responded that revealing it would mean a large part of the fun goes right out the window. He treats the mystery itself as essential to the character, as fundamental to who Yoda is as his green skin or his distinctive speech patterns.